Hello and welcome back for race 2 for the MG Cup Trophy. I hope you've had a good evening and you enjoyed the first race yesterday. Ian will be joining us shortly, so don't worry, he will be back. And I do have the lovely Mitch here joining me. We had a great race yesterday, didn't we, Mitch? How are you looking forward to this one today?
Good, I'm hoping for more of the same. It was exciting, and yeah, it's nice today. The sun's come out, which is always better for racing. Unfortunately, there has been a few oil spills that may dampen people's spirits, but it should be a good race. Yeah,
exactly. Track conditions have changed quite a lot from yesterday. As you said, there's a few more oil spills, a bit more dust down, which has now been cleared up with a couple of races of running. But the best thing, beautiful sunshine. We didn't expect to see this on April, did we?
No, not at all. It looked like it was going to be altogether weather-wise a miserable weekend. But the sun came out very unexpectedly and stayed out, which is the difference. The track has got a lot drier now, and it is also actually quite warm. As you can see, I've taken my coat off and it's lovely and sunny.
Fantastic, fantastic. So I'm hearing that the race that's going on currently is on the last lap, so we won't have too long to wait. A couple of updates for us, if I could potentially put up the results from race 1 and we can run through that. Perfect, so I'm being told the results are on screen, so you have them. So a quick rundown. The winner is, or the winner from yesterday was Graham Ross, Class A, and second on the road, but winner in Class B was Fergus Campbell, and then Tyler Ballard, Jack Woodcock, Jack Chapman, who had a brilliant drive back after trying to qualify on slicks and having to make his way back through. Paul Savage in 6th, Matthew Harvey in 7th, then Sam Megan, James Blake, Anthony Widley and Robin Walker. We had a couple of DNFs or not classifieds yesterday with John Donnelly, James Cole and Lee Sullivan, who went out with a gearbox issue. We are expecting to see a lot from Lee, as we were expecting to see him do quite well yesterday. He is starting the race today from pole, but we do have a couple of non-classified runners. So we've had a couple drop out. Brilliant. I've been told the grid order's on screen, so you can see that for yourselves. Paul Savage has sadly had to go home as he's feeling unwell, and Mike Harris has pulled out. So of those 16 that you're probably looking at, there are 14 on the grid today. So still a healthy grid though, Mitch, I think.
Yeah, it's still a good grid. I think it's aided by the fact this is such a short lap. You can put 5 cars out here and they'll still have a good race. And also, close fields usually appear here no matter what. So, yeah, okay, it's disappointing to have a few missing. And obviously we prefer to have as many as possible, but 14 is still very good.
Yeah, definitely. Good grid numbers. And one of the big things, if you're sat at home and you've got an MG or you're interested in an MG, they're always looking for more people to join the grid. So if you're sat there and you've got a car at home, hopefully we'll see you out in the next season or so. Do feel free, get involved. The more the merrier, as they say. They're always looking for more and more people. Lovely group of people, as we've seen so far this weekend. Lots of really good, clean racing. And with conditions today, I have been told they're expecting potential new lap records. What we currently have, Class A's lap record is a 54.39, so do look out for that. The lap record current lap record holder isn't here today, but in the B class, Andrew Rogers set the time of 56.42. It's a long-standing record. I've been told over 6 or 7 years since that was been set, so potentially some really exciting things happening today. And we have now got lovely Ian back to join us.
Yeah, hello guys. Mitch, how are you? Charles, thanks for that. We are, of course, live here for race 2 of the MG Trophy Championship. And I know you've been talking about it. You've gone through the grids already. We've had a look at how yesterday finished up. I'll tell you something, if this race 2 is anything like yesterday, you are in for a real treat. Now, one thing we like to do as well is get you guys involved. If you want to comment, please do. We are broadcasting live across social media and across the world. Did you know that we're broadcasting South Australia, MG Car Club South Australia, Singapore, probably Argentina, I don't know, who knows, maybe. But we are all over the world. And if you do want to get in touch with us, please do. There's a link in the body of this broadcast, takes you straight through to Live Sport Now's YouTube channel. Give it a click, hit subscribe whilst you're there, because you can watch every single race of the MG Trophy Championship in 2023. Comment if it's a nice message, we can show it on screen as well. Tell us what you think of the coverage so far, and who do you think is going to win this race? Tell us that. Right, Mitch, who's going to win?
I think it's difficult to call. These grids, I've tried to predict every single race I've watched this weekend and got every single one of them wrong. So I'm just going to go for the safe, boring choice of the pole man.
Oh, he's so boring, isn't he? Although Sullivan did run into issues yesterday, retired from the race sadly. Charles, who's your prediction?
I was actually going to go for the same. I was going to go for Lee Sullivan. We saw him perform pretty well in qualifying yesterday. So yeah, I think if his gearbox holds up, I think he's got a good chance. He was doing very well up until the point that it let go yesterday. So
it is too. Basically, Max Verstappen's going to win a Grand Prix.
Well, he is.
Do you know
what
I'm going to say?
If
Doug Cole is starting, didn't start yesterday. Alternator, wasn't it? The reason he couldn't start. We did have it on good authority that he is going to be in this race. Doug Cole for me to win the race. So let's put the camera. You can see the cars currently in assembly area, getting ready to go out. The Equipped GTS race has finished. I can also tell you as well, there's going to be 2 green flag laps for this one as well. So 2 green flag laps for this race there, the second and final race of the weekend for the MG Trophy Championship, supported by the FG Barnes Group. Now we'll give you a little update, shall we, on sort of class structures and how it all works. We've got a couple of classes for this one, don't we? We've got your Class A with the orange, Class B with the yellow sun strips. We've got MGZR 190s, 170s. It is going to be an absolute corker of a race. A little bit earlier, we had our behind-the-scenes paddock walk. Do go back and watch that. It is still, wherever you're watching this, or at MG Trophy Championship on Facebook and the MG Car Club on Facebook, as well as the MG Car Club on Twitter. As I've said before, the best place to guarantee seeing your comment is Live Sport Now on YouTube. And once we finish this broadcast, if you do want to tune in and watch or find out more about the MG Trophy Championship, there is a link in the body of this broadcast too. A few people involved down here. Charles, did you want to jump in? Sorry.
Yeah, I was just going to say.
So on about something.
No, we're looking at them all sat in Parc Ferme, and I was going to say, Mitch, as a fellow driver, you know as well as I do what it's like to sit in there waiting for your turn to be called, especially when they're clearing track up and everything else. Do you want to give us a little bit of an insight?
Yeah, so right now they've been sat there for not too long, but a little while. There's been quite a few recoveries that have had to be made after this last race, and the problem is, a lot of the time you get updates from the marshals. They're very good at doing that, but unfortunately you don't constantly know what is going on. So they are sat there in what are probably very hot cars, because they're in direct sunlight there in assembly area at Brands. So they are getting very hot and very nervous, but at least with this Parc Ferme they can see some of what is going on, and that is an important thing, because you want to be able to prepare yourself at the right time. You don't want to peak too early, because then nerves can take over as you get. And as Ian said, 2 green flag laps, that's a lot of time to try and keep yourself calm before those lights go out.
I think it's a wise idea now, actually, Mitch, isn't it? Because we have had a lot of oil dumped just before the MG Cup race. It was one of the quick race. Oh no, it was a midget and Sprite race, wasn't it? One of the cars semi blew up, didn't it, and dumped a load of oil on the track. And so we had quite a delay. In fact, we also had quite a delay in the race beforehand, didn't we? There was a big accident into the wall. I'm pleased to say they managed to get it cleared up. I think the driver is okay. But yeah, there was a big accident. So we are a couple of delays, although we're not that far off. 1:30, I think the race was due to start anyway, so we're only running a couple of minutes behind. Now, you guys are club racers, and this is club racing at its absolute finest. So did you know, in this field, I'm going to give you a couple of job roles as what some of the drivers do. We have a technical buyer for Mercedes F1, that's Mr. Cole. We've got Graham Ross, who owns a sign-making business. We've got a telecoms engineer, a car mechanic, as you might expect, a retired company director. We've got a quality and safety manager. We've got a chap who runs a DVD and video company. We've got a TV executive. It's not me. We've got a plumber. We've got a delivery driver. We've got a plant hire ops director, and we've got a design engineer, just to name but a few of the jobs that the gentlemen down there racing round Brands Hatch are going to do. So if you think you can't race for whatever reason, you can. You don't have to be a professional race driver. You can do any job and you can go racing, right?
Yeah, definitely. Which one's the design engineer, out of curiosity?
Out of curiosity, it is Mr. Harvey.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, Matt Harvey, running car number 20 in Class B. He's the design engineer. So there we go.
He should do well then, because as a fellow engineer, he's got to keep the team going and do well as.
Well, I thought you'd want to know who the TV executive is. That's Mr. Fergus Campbell in the Dayglow orange car there. So running in Class B, he's the TV exec.
And obviously Class B winner from yesterday. Mitch, you want to say something?
Yeah, I reckon the plumber's probably got some great fire extinguisher work in his car. Can you imagine how neat that's going to be?
He's probably got a tap in there and a sink.
He's probably, yeah, he can
might even
clean
have a
his
toilet
car.
in case, I mean, I often wonder, you need to go to the toilet once you're having a race. What do you do?
He's probably using it right now. It's the nerves are at the highest point. So yeah.
That strip down there, that isn't oil. Somebody's put a hole in the floor so they can have a comfort break.
Is that a defensive tactic now?
To be fair,
this talk is terrible. It's really gone downhill.
If Sod's Law kicks in, though, his will be the one where a water pipe goes. He's the one that's going to have a leaky radiator. You know what they say. You know, plumber's house, roofer's house leaks. Painter's house hasn't been painted in decades. And
I'll tell you something, this is like our own business networking group down there, isn't it? Really? We've got a lot of comments coming in. We've been showing them on screen as well. A lot of support for Lee Sullivan. So if you're not supporting Lee Sullivan, show some support. Get those comments coming in. Who else are we supporting for? Because at the minute, it seems to be the Lee Sullivan social media support show. So comment below if you are if you're supporting Lee, do comment as well. But if you're supporting somebody else, do let us know. Now the cars are making their way onto the track, as you can see, led out by the popular Lee Sullivan, Graham Ross alongside him, Doug Cole. I'm not so sure if I can see Doug Cole's car actually. I'm not so sure he is going to start, is he? I think he's number 3, isn't he, Doug Cole? Am I right in thinking? No, he's not number 3, is he?
Briefly speaking,
he's number 99. You can't really get much further apart in numbers, can you? Am I seeing number 99 down there? This is where I have to. I think I am, yeah? I think I am. I think Doug Cole does start this race. He's my tip to get the win. So Lee Sullivan, Graham Ross, Doug Cole, Fergus Campbell, Tyler Ballard. Tyler Ballard, incidentally, put in the fastest lap of the race yesterday. And the conditions now actually perfect for racing, right?
Yeah, exactly. And like I was saying before you joined us, Ian, I've been told that potential new lap records could be on the cards today. Obviously, the 190s running slicks as well. So it should be very interesting to see what the times get down to out there. But as you're briefly mentioning networking, obviously motorsport events, they're not just here for the people that have the joy of driving the cars. They are also brilliant networking events. So if you're sat at home thinking, how can I get involved? I just want to be at a track and enjoy the lovely atmosphere that we all get to sort of take for granted in the jobs that we do. Get involved as a sponsor. You know, there's never enough sponsors in club sport, and there's hundreds of drivers out there that could really use the support, and teams as well. So if you run a company or something like that and you want a bit of motorsport involvement to push your branding or to explore into new areas, feel free to reach out to people that you want to get behind and offer to do that, because as I said, there's a lot of struggling teams and drivers out there, and we want more and more on the grids, and that's only going to happen if the money's there to support them.
Yeah, absolutely. We are, as you can see, the first of the 2 green flag laps. Now, we're not under racing conditions. That's why we haven't got all excited, started jumping around and shouting. It's got quite popular up here in the Grand Prix as well. The MG Trophy Championship does have a good following, doesn't it? It's nice to be able to bring it live. The first time it's ever been broadcast. Well, it might not be the first time ever, but first time by us anyway. And of course, we're going to be here throughout the entire season as well. Alton Park, Silverstone, Cadwell Park, Snetterton. 10 races in total. You can watch every single race live, every single qualifying session live, and of course at every racetrack we will go behind the scenes. Like I said earlier this morning, at a very chilly Brands Hatch it was this morning, Katie Donnelly and I took a little walk around the paddock. We caught up with Jack Woodcock, we caught up with Graham Ross, we had a chat with Tyler Ballard as well. So do go back and watch that. At the end of this race too, we're going to make our way down to Parc Fermé for immediate post-race reaction as well. Right, the cars are going round now, and there is Mr. Cole in 3rd place, my tip to win. You can't miss Fergus Campbell, can you, in that Dayglow orange car? I have said to him a few times, I always thank him for doing that, because I always know where he is.
Yeah, it does make our life a hell of a lot easier when the car's a little bit different and you can see it from literally half a mile away. This circuit being just over a mile long in its total circumference, and yeah, from one end of the track to the other, having a giant day glow orange car does make our life a lot easier.
Yeah, so they're going around again for the second time just to get to grips with it. There has been an awful lot of oil over the course of the weekend. And Mitch, when you're going round and doing these formation laps, what are you looking for? Because they know the circuit, don't they? They've raced here. Is it just track evolution, or is it just to warm the car up?
It's to make sure, particularly with as events of today, make sure there's still no damp patches, particularly at clearways. That's notoriously slippery in damp conditions. Also, make sure the sand's cleared from where the oil was. I think it pretty much, that last 30-minute race got rid of most of that. But also, key thing is warming these tyres, and particularly the rears. I always struggle with a Fiesta, a similar shaped vehicle. Those rear tyres will be so cold on lap 1, and that could be the difference between gaining positions and ending up at the back of the field, and that is a key thing for them to do. Also, another thing, we've had a lot of issues with the first couple of grid boxes. People have been overshooting them on the end of green flag laps, so they will be making carefully sure they know exactly where their starting position is, because they don't want a 10-second penalty.
Well, we saw that in the MG Cup, didn't we? Lance Ellington did go on to win race 2, but was penalised in race 1, given a 10-second time penalty. And actually, we were talking about it yesterday, weren't we, Charles? It can be quite difficult to find your grid box.
It can be, yeah. It looks like a silly error on the telly, but when you're sat in the cars, you're sat very low. Your visibility is very limited and very restricted. You don't know where your front wheels are. You have to sort of guess and judge, and unless you drive in perfectly lined up already, which obviously being a curved bank or a curved straight as this one is, makes it that little bit trickier, the Brabham straight. But yeah, heading into the grid boxes now, they're going to start lining up. Obviously, one of the harder things that we have noticed this weekend about starting on the front row, and they are pretty much in, but a little bit offset as we say that. So you can see just how tricky it is to line it up with the pole sitter being half a grid box alongside. Hopefully he doesn't get a penalty for that. But yeah, that first row is uphill, and it's a lot more uphill than it looks like on camera, and we've seen a lot of people struggle to get out of those first two grid boxes. So yeah, very difficult. Mitch,
Absolutely,
there's not a single one the same gradient either.
It's time to go racing, gentlemen. Lee Sullivan at pole position, Graham Ross in second for the second time this season. It is lights out. Off we go, and it's a good start by Sullivan this time. Just as he did yesterday. Ross still alongside of those, managed to hold on to him. Who's going to have the head of steam going into Paddock Hill? They're side by side. I think it's going to be Ross who does manage to get into the lead this time.
yeah, but they're still side by side heading up into Druids.
Yeah, it is. It's Sullivan who leads. It's Ross in second. Campbell's managed to get himself up to third place as well. Doug Cole drops down to fourth. Ballard holds on to 5. There's James Cole having a good battle as well. They're going to be going side by side into Graham Hill. Everybody through safely so far. Good racing by everyone throughout the course of the field. And off we go now. We're into starting to stretch our legs a little bit. And it's Sullivan who leads, from Ross, from Campbell, from Cole, from Ballard, from Cole.
And another clean start from the entire grid. We've not had a car off, not had a car bang, which is fantastic. You know, the respect and the space that everybody's given each other has been very good for this first weekend back. Sometimes it can always be a little bit rusty, but the racing is very, very close, as you can see, and I'm sure that lead 3 will soon be side by side.
Yeah, it's quite busy up here on the gantry now, actually, isn't it? So you might see a few heads as we move the camera around, but we'll give you the best shot we possibly can. Here we go. It is Leon's doing a great job with the camera, so thank you very much, Leon. Sullivan still leading the way from Graham Ross. Now Campbell's coming under pressure from Doug Cole in third place. Ballard still holding on to 5th. They're coming back round again down onto the Cooper Straight. It is turning out to be a threat. Looking now, it looks like it is Ross is going to go through that. That is Graham Ross, isn't it? So Graham Ross into the lead of this race. Through he goes.
Yeah,
so
brilliant little.
Sorry, Charles.
I was going to say, brilliant little move there. Got a great run on the exit of Graham's, pulled alongside, and once you got the inside for Surtees, the corner is 99% yours, unless they really want to brave it out around the outside.
Cole seems to be trying to go for around the outside. The front 3, after this opening lap, it looked like they were going to stretch out, but they've all bunched back together now, and this means we now kind of have a 4-way fight for the lead, which I didn't really expect after that opening corner where there was a big gap between Sullivan and the rest.
Yeah, fantastic spot there, Mitch. And four-way fight for the lead. That's not something you get to say every day, is it? So this is absolutely fantastic. Some defending going on down into Graham Hill. Will that compromise the exit of the third place man in that beautiful day glow orange MG Cup car?
Yeah, well, cool, boys. Right, it is similar almost pattern to yesterday, isn't it? At a minute, once Graham Ross gets into the lead, he's usually able to stretch his legs and pull a wall, holding on to second place. Fergus Campbell got third from the start, and he's managed to hold on to it at the minute. But we've got a good battle going on between Sullivan, Campbell, and now Doug Cole's coming up the inside. Did it look like Campbell was a little bit slow coming around the final corner there? And Doug Cole goes through into third place. Exciting stuff indeed here. Now we're starting to get into the meat and bones of this race now, Charles.
Yeah, now's the time everyone's going to start settling in. The leader out front seems to be sort of pulling a bit of a gap from the guys behind. Obviously squabbling never helps, but they are going side by side again into Surtees, so that could be another position gained there for Doug Cole.
Yes, Doug Cole's on the move. My pick and prediction to win this race, gentlemen. It's looking good for me so far. You both said Lee Sullivan. He's now dropped down to third place. It's Ross who leads from Doug Cole now. Sullivan in third place. Let's have a quick look at the timings as they come over. Graham Ross over the line does a 56.372, but Doug Cole, the fastest man on track, 56.197. Sullivan in third at 57.465 that time around. Campbell in fourth. Ballard is fifth. James Cole is in sixth, Woodcock's in seventh, Meagher is eighth, Chapman's ninth, Harvey's 10th, Wigley's 11th, Walker's 12th, Blake's 13th, John Donnelly is 14th. 14 runners and riders here for race 2 of the MG Trophy Championship here live at Brands Hatch. It's meeting 1 of 5 of the season, and you can watch it all live as live sport now on YouTube and of course at the MG Trophy Championship on Facebook. Here we go, the racing action is hotting up right now. Is Doug Cole going to be able to chase down Graham Ross? When I spoke to Graham a little bit earlier, guys, he was a bit nervous about Doug. Even he said, I think Doug's got the legs. We're going to find out, Mitch.
Yeah, I think he was hoping that Sullivan would stay in front for a bit longer, because Sullivan does seem to be the cork in the bottle, because Doug has already left him behind. And now it's a three-way fight for third, because as soon as Sullivan gets overtaken, that gap stretches. But the lead gap seems to be maintaining at the moment, so maybe not so much of a worry as pre-race thoughts.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So Ross, Cole, Sullivan, Campbell, Ballard, that's it. As you said, Mitch rightly said, that's bubbling quite nicely, isn't it? The battle between Sullivan, Campbell and Ballard is probably a good point to make. Ross and Doug Cole both in Class A, Sullivan, Campbell, Ballard all in Class B. So Sullivan is still, despite the fact that he was on pole and led the race overall, still leading Class B. So he could still be on for a win here today. Retired, of course, from yesterday's race, and now Tyler Ballard is all over the back of Fergus Campbell as well.
Yeah, we're still about a second away from lap record pace. So
what is the lap record, incidentally? Sorry, Charles.
So sorry, I think you might have missed that, Ian. So I've got it here.
I was running up the stairs.
Yeah, running up that hill. So. Yeah, the lap record for A is a 54.3, and for the B class is a 56.4. So
54.3, yeah, we are still,
we're still about a
good 1.5 seconds off almost, aren't we, off the overlap time. And here we go, Ballard trying to go around the outside of Campbell around Druids. He's going to have to hold the line. Is he going to be able to cut back and get the inside? But Fergus has cut it off and Sullivan's slowing. Oh no, I don't believe it. For the second race in a row, Lee Sullivan is slowing and he's going to be pulling off. I wonder if it's the gearbox issue again. But Sullivan, oh, what a shame. He's such a nice bloke as well. I caught up with him yesterday. And it looks like Sullivan's out of this race.
Oh, that's an absolute shame for him. An absolute shame for him. But saying that, the third place is now very, very much. You can put a cigarette paper between the two of them, and I've got a feeling this could be quite a big move into paddock. And I'm saying that as the fight for the lead closes up massively as well. So
there's battles everywhere. Lee Sullivan actually has stayed out as well. He's got Woodcock right behind him. We've got a battle for the lead. Doug Cole was closing on Graham Ross now. He's right behind him going around Druids. Just behind them as well, we've got Tyler Ballard trying to have a sniff at Fergus Campbell. It's worth noting as well that James Cole's just right behind as well there, thinking, hang on guys, this is bringing me into play as well. Sullivan's still going round though. He dropped back a little bit as he managed. I wonder if he lost again. Oh, it's again round Druids. He's going slow. as he comes down round Druids and down the hill. Woodcock is past, Chapman is past, it looks like Meagher's past as well, and Sullivan again coming around Druids for the second time has a big issue going round there. I wonder if it's just up that corner. Is he going to pull up? Is he going to come round? Everybody's getting through. He's still going, but I think he might be coming into the pits this time. But look at this now. Here we go for the race lead. Unfortunately, we can't get a camera on it. Too many people. We go down into Graham Hill. Thank you, Leon. Great timing, great stuff. It's Cole around, trying to go around the outside, trying to take Graham Ross. It's not going to be this time, but do we think...
Yeah, no, what he's going to do, he's going to come back, he's going to get the run and try and duck underneath him for Druids, but he's going to actually go the long way round the outside. I do believe that he's got him covered though. He'll try and set him up for Graham though, so he's going to try and put him offline. No, he's not. He's going to both have great exits out of Graham.
Absolute carbon copy.
Sorry, Mitch, go ahead.
Absolute carbon copy for the P3 battle as well. Massive defensive move by the P3 man into Druids and just couldn't get the run into Graham Hill Bend. We have two identical battles going on. This is incredible.
This is an absolute thriller, isn't it? Look at Tyler Ballard. He's trying to go, he's trying to put Fergus Campbell off, isn't he? I think Doug Coldo just maybe lost a little bit of momentum going around Druids, but he's managed to pick it back up on the straight. Here we go. Battle for the lead is back on again. The battle for third is on. The battle for honours in Class B is on. The battle for Class A. It's just going off everywhere. It's brilliant.
Yeah, and rightly spotted there, Mitch. Doug Cole using every single trick in the book, using his headlights to flash the guy in front just to get him distracted. I thought I saw a little lock up there, but that might have just been my eyes deceiving me. Wouldn't be the first time. But yeah, both first and third place battles still very, very tight. And I think this race is going to get more and more exciting by the minute.
Well, Doug Cole knows what he's doing. He's been racing with the MG Trophy Championship since 2008. So he pretty much wrote the rule book and the trick book, didn't he, for this championship?
Yeah, very much so. And I've not seen Lee Sullivan out there. Is he actually retired, or is he still...
Who's that? Sorry, Lee Sullivan. He is... No, he should still be circulating, actually. He hasn't come into the pit yet. He's still going round, and it might be using it as a test session now. He's down to 13th place out of the 14 runners and riders. I'll give you a quick update. We've got just over 8 minutes left on the clock. It's Ross who still leads just from Doug Cole. Campbell still holding on to third place in the Class B win at the minute, with Tyler Ballard in fourth, then Cole, that's Jay Cole in fifth, Woodcock in sixth, Chapman in seventh, Meagher in eighth, Harvey in ninth, Walker's 10th, Blake is 11th, Wigley's 12th, Sullivan is 13th, and Donnelly is 14th. And here we go.
There was a massive move for P3 there.
Class B honours and third place overall in the race, and it's still Tyler Ballard nipping at the heels of Fergus Campbell.
Yeah, very much so. It's still absolutely back and forth. He's trying to get through on the inside.
Chapman, sorry, on Woodcock. Chapman's just put an almighty dive on Woodcock. It takes the place round Graham Hill. Incredible.
Well, that's a fantastic move there by Chapman. Quickly going back to Lee Sullivan, I've got a feeling that potentially he might be stuck in fourth.
Right.
It's a complete guess, but knowing that he has had gearbox issues and that everywhere else he's fine apart from the one corner around here where you need third, I've got a feeling that could be the issue for him, but that's a complete guess from me.
Sense why it was so slow out of Druids every time.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to see him actually. Did he just go under our view? I'm not. So
there's going to be another move. He's going to try around the outside for third place into Druids.
Well, Tyler Ballard, this time
he's got a much better run and a much better placement. If he can keep it to the inside, he'll be able to get the inside for Graham Hill Bend, which he has managed to do. Now, the important thing, get a good run out of this corner. Don't allow the switchback. Will he be able to do it? Yes, he has kept the position. He will make his way nicely through Surtees, and I think he will now start to maybe pull away and hunt after the lead too.
Well, he might, but I think James Cole fancies a bit of Fergus Campbell behind as well. We know Tyler Ballard has got some serious pace. It's almost a mirror image for Tyler from yesterday's race, isn't it? Once he got into that third place, it kind of a bit of a lonely one for him. We've got 6.5 minutes of this race to go. Guys, why can't this be half hour at least? I don't want this to finish.
I think the leader might be wanting this to finish. He made a couple of mistakes on the last 2 laps, a couple of lockups, and that lead gap is now down again to within a car length.
Well, Doug Cole, fastest man, who just put the fastest lap of the race in last time around, a 55.53. I'm not so sure we're going to get anywhere near fastest lap overall territory, but you never know, do you? It's Ross who leads from Doug Cole. Ballard now is up into third place on track, but first place in Class B. Campbell is in fourth. James Cole's in 5th, then Chapman, Woodcock, Meager, Harvey, Walker, Blake, Wigley, Donnelly. I can tell you Sullivan has pulled up and is now out of this race.
That's a real shame for him. After such a promising qualifying performance, we expected a lot from him after that this weekend, but sadly it's just not come together for him. It happens sadly in motorsport. You do have weekends where things like that just don't go your way, and it's extremely frustrating, especially when you know that you've got the pace there to be able to get the job done.
We will be seeing more of Lee Sullivan this season, I have no doubt. It is a disappointment, and I think all of the people on the gantry were Lee Sullivan fans because they've all disappeared now and they've left us up here for the final 5 minutes by ourselves. Remember, keep your comments coming in. We can see what you made of this race so far. My word, it's been an absolute corker, hasn't it? Tyler Ballard is pulling away from Fergus Campbell. You are looking at the battle, though, for the outright lead in this race. It's Graham Ross and Doug Cole going toe-to-toe. It's also the battle for Class A honours, but first player. Listen, guys, I don't go racing myself. There's multiple classes for a reason, but you want to win outright, don't you?
Absolutely, the outright win is always bragging rights. No matter what class you're in, you can have the fastest car than anybody. You still need that win. But I've just been noticing between the lead two, they have completely different lines, and it appears Doug Cole much faster in the first half of the lap. But as they come into Surtees and clearways, that lead gap extends again. The Constantina effect is doing some very weird things here today, but it is keeping it interesting.
Yeah, as you say, Mitch, different lines through different sections, and it's one of the interesting things about this track. You've got sort of medium to high speed corners and a couple of slower sort of tighter corners as well, so it's interesting that different cars and drivers suit different types of corners, and you'll see that all the way throughout motorsport. Setup obviously makes a massive difference, which I know you know a lot about, Mitch, with all of your experience in that role as well. But yeah, it's very interesting and a brilliant spot there.
Yeah, it is, guy. I'd say actually in a minute, Graham Ross seems to have Doug Cole just under a little bit of control. I'd say the biggest battle at the minute is probably between Jack Chapman and Woodcock. They're just going around the top now, coming onto the start-finish line. The BLR, Jack Chapman and Woodcock, they're coming onto the start-finish line now. This is a battle that's been brewed for a while. Jack Chapman put that massive lunge on Woodcock, almost caught him out by surprise a little bit, but a very closely matched, as you can see. It's the battle for 6th place on track. Both drivers are in Class B. It's actually the battle for 4th place in Class B. You wouldn't think it, would you? You know, they want that position, don't they?
As a racing driver, Ian, you want every position. If they're in front of you, you want to get past them. It's as simple as that. But yeah, and a brilliant performance this weekend from Chapman. Like I was saying earlier, after a race.
Oh, and a spin. Oh, James Cole has spun up Surtees. James Cole is off the side of the track. Leon, if you turn around here, James Cole, I believe it is James Cole, just had a bit of a moment there. He's getting back on the circuit, double waved yellows. He's going again, so we are back under green flag. Just before the leaders get down here, and once again we turn the camera around. Chapman having a good go, he's holding off Woodcock in a minute, and the next two coming down as well as Meager and Harvey. These two have been brewing as well, so the battle's going on here. Chapman in 6th, having a great ding-dong with Woodcock in 7th, and Meager in 8th, having an amazing battle with Harvey in 9th. But we've got just over 1.5 minutes left on the clock. So I'm trying to see where our race leader is, because this will be the penultimate lap of the race.
They're just coming into Graham Hill Bend now. That gap seems to have stabilised for the lead.
And coming up the straight, sorry guys, you're right. It does look like Graham Ross is in control, but at the minute we've got Harvey and Meager going toe-to-toe. Harvey's going to have the inside line this time. Matt Harvey, can he make this stick? He's been behind Meager the entire race. Last of the late breakers. Oh, it looked like there was a bit of a nudge almost, not quite. They didn't quite touch. But Harvey looked like he got a bit unsteady under braking.
Yeah, completely sideways, but I think they kept it clean. But that was brave round the outside as a defensive move, and he's going to keep it all the way around the outside of Druids. If he can hold on now and get a good exit, he may just be able to lunge it up inside of Graham Hill Bend to keep his position.
Is he going to do it?
Harvey locks up, goes wide.
Great racing by Harvey and Meager here. Harvey now does take the place though, so Matt Harvey's ahead.
A spinner up at Clearways.
A spinner at the top up at Clearways. Oh, it's Jack Chapman, I think. Jack Chapman, who's had a spin up at Clearways. That allows Woodcock to go back through. Can Chapman get it going again? Yes, he can. and both Harvey and Miga say thank you very much. What a great lap that is for Harvey, because he just made up 2 places.
Yeah, fantastic lap. It's always nice when that happens on the penultimate lap of the race as well, because you're sat there thinking, oh, I think I might have this sorted, or I'll try and get one more. Next thing you know, you've got 2 or 3 in your pocket.
We've got 20 seconds left on the clock, and I think, is Graham Ross going to get over the line in time? Yeah, he is. There's no checkered flag out, so we've got 10 seconds left to go. We're now into the final lap of the race. So Graham Ross starts the final lap of the race. Doug Cole still closing it down, but it looks like Ross, if he can just hold on, is going to make it a double bubble, a pair of wins here at Brands Hatch this weekend to get his MG Trophy Championship start off to an absolute flyer.
And of course that will mean that he's got a 100% win record this season.
He will have won every single race he's entered in the MG, because that's what happens when you finish first.
Yeah,
you win the race.
Exactly that, exactly that.
Thank you, Will Buxton. Thank you.
Just noticing that although that lead gap is stabilising, there has been a couple of mistakes in the last lap, and this is now a really key part of the lap. The last corner at Brands Hatch can really go wrong for you. He has to stay completely focused. That may be the final lap of the race, but he hasn't won it until he crossed that line, and that's the important thing to remember. Fortunately, he negotiates it fine, and he's coming onto the straight with a healthy lead.
Yeah, he is, and Graham Ross is going to take the checkered flag. Here he comes. Graham Ross wins for a 2nd time this weekend at Brands Hatch. Great racing by Doug Cole. He wasn't involved yesterday, was today, certainly made up for it. Was pushing Ross the whole way, comes home in 2nd place. Tyler Ballard is going to come over the line. He's just going around clearways now. He's coming on to the start-finish straight now. He is going to come 3rd on track, but he's going to win and take the Class B honours here this afternoon as the sun comes down. Fergus Campbell is going to cross the line in 4th place. And James Cole, despite that spin, is going to stay in 5th, it looks like. Yes, he does. Woodcock's going to take what ended up being a lonely 6th, but that doesn't actually tell the whole story, was it? Because they had a great battle with Jack Chapman all throughout. Harvey's going to come home in 2nd. Meagher's going to come home in 8th. Chapman now comes over the line. He did get past Walker, so Chapman finishes in 9th place. We're just waiting for Walker and Blake to come over. Walker's over the line now. Now we're just waiting for Blake to come over. Donnelly ended up in 12th place, and Sullivan sadly retired from this race. All right, guys, we're going to make our way down to Parc Fermé now. Whilst we make our way down the stairs, let's just pop TSL up onto the screen so you can see how things finished, and let's go. So audio is still live, guys, so what do we make of that? Charles, you've got the mic, so I'll come to you first. We don't officially do the driver of the day, but who do you think, if you could choose, who was your top driver there?
Oh, well, I mean, there's quite a lot to choose from. I mean, that was just very exciting for us to watch, and hopefully for you guys at home, it was just as exciting for you guys watching there at home. So
we need a name, Charles.
I think a name. I think a name would
There's
be.
A fence. Do you want me to go get you a fence so you can sit on it?
Yeah, I quite like this fence actually. It's quite a comfortable fence. I think I'll go with Graham Ross. I mean, he's done everything he's needed to do this weekend. He's won both races. That means he's won every race of the season so far. So yeah, I think I'm going to have to go with him. Mitch, who do you think? Who's your driver of the day or weekend?
I think, well, I didn't get a good look at that first race, and I think for the second race, though, definitely Harvey, because everyone around him was in intense battles, and they kept making mistakes and stuff, but he kept his nose clean and got the positions right towards the end. But, you know, that was a consistency thing for him, so he's my driver of the day.
Yeah, so that's how things finished with the classifieds with TSL. Now, actually, Charles, during our paddock walk a little bit earlier today, I caught up with Graham Ross. I had a good chat with him, Katie Donnelly and I, and as expected, he was very worried about Doug Cole. It proved to be the case because he pushed him the whole way. Here's what Graham Ross had to say a little bit earlier this morning, heading into that race. Roll VT. As well, Graham Ross. Graham, first of all, congratulations on yesterday's race and win. It was a cracker. Wasn't quite so straightforward, was it? Lee and Fergus got you at the start.
Yes, well, of course, with the Class B cars having different tyres, I would have said that their tyres were more suited to the conditions yesterday. Yep. We had to make the call. It's either all wets, all slicks, or we can do the combination of slicks on the front and wets on the back, which is what I went for. I wasn't brave enough for slicks all round, but when I went out in the green flag lap, it should have been slicks all around. I should have done it, but hindsight's always 20/20 vision. So our wets on the rear, which they're okay, they'll come in right away, but the slicks just take a bit of time. So a bit of wheel spin off the line. Fergus and Lee got past me, but I knew with the conditions of the track, the car would come to me. So I knew at some point we'd be battling with them, which I think second or third lap we'll get into a bit of a battle, and then managed to get past them. Lee unfortunately had the mechanical, which is a bit of a shame, because him and Fergus were a proper ding dong. And then after that, the rear tyres, because the track is so dry, they start to go off. So it's fun, and it's fun in a situation where you've got that much of a gap in front that you can afford to have a bit of, But I don't think I got Paddock Hill right twice. I don't think I did the same line twice. It was hilarious.
Well, there was a lot of oil down on the track as well, all throughout the day, wasn't there? Was it slippy out there?
Well, there was one time in particular I took a different line in, and the back end of the car was really, really loose, and I thought that's more like fluid than anything that I've done. That's my excuse anyway. But I managed to hold it all the way down, and it was just a case. I mean, people said to me, did you manage the gap to Fergus? Yes and no. I was trying my hardest, because it's a weird feeling driving the car with so much, well, either grip or looseness at the back, depending on the conditions of the track. So I was trying, but by the same token, I didn't want to throw the thing off. I didn't sort of think, well, I have to really go, charging here to try and keep the gap from Fergus. So it was management, but by the same token, he was not letting me have it on my own way.
Now, yesterday, unfortunately, we know Doug Cole, and you said you're a little bit concerned. We think he's going to be back today, though. He said the alternator, it's fixed. Katie, you've just said it's fixed.
Apparently
Doug Cole,
so.
We think breaking news is going to be in this race, and you're a little bit concerned about that.
Well, yes, Doug has won round here before, no problems. Yesterday, he had the option of putting, it gets very complicated with tyres, he had the option of putting the Yokohama wets on the back. Your mine was the Dunlops, and the Yokohama wets are not, in my opinion, are not such a pure wet tyre. So, whereas my tyres were giving me a wee bit of grief, Doug with the Yokis, I think that was the tyre to have if you were going to put wets on the back. And if he had been running there, I reckon he would have won that race, because he would have given me, because he was right behind me on the grid. So that was maybe a bit of luck that he wasn't there, but today he is. I suspect for the Class A car it's going to be slicks all round. So I reckon Doug and me I'd like to think we're going to have a ding-dong today.
Well, there we go, a ding-dong indeed. Graham, thank you so much for talking to us. We really appreciate it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that little VT. I'm stood here with the race winner of both races this weekend, which means that he's won every single race of the season so far. He can't ask for anything more than that. So, Graham, how did you find it out there?
It was good, actually. The conditions were really, really good. Dry as a bone, so it was fantastic on the slicks.
Well done, mate.
The car went away from me towards the end. It was just, tyres were going off a wee bit, but I managed to keep Doug behind me. I knew he was going to come through. He does all right here, and I just knew he would be pushing me hard. So I just did my best to defend, and I think both our tyres went off, and I managed to just kind of maintain a wee gap near the end. But it was good. It was good having a bit of, good honest competition there.
Yeah, he definitely kept you honest for sure. Yeah. So with how we're sitting in the championship standings now, how are you feeling for the rest of the championship, or are you just taking one race at a time?
Yeah, I've got to take one race at a time. The problem with Brands this weekend is that we've not got enough Class A cars to get full points. So that's, if the Class B guys, if one guy in the Class B keeps winning, then he's going to score more points. So, yeah, one race at a time. I'm really chuffed to be going home with a car in one piece with no scratches on it. That's always a plus point. It's a long way home when you're in a bad mood. So, yeah, we'll look forward to opening. Fingers crossed.
Oh, fantastic! Yeah, so it is great, as you said, to go home with a car that's completely just in one piece, and that's one thing that I've seen all the way down the grid. Actually, this weekend is we've had lots of really good, clean racing, very little or minimal contact. We've barely seen any. And as you mentioned, Alton Park, which is coming up next month. I believe it's the second weekend of May, 13th of May. There we go. Is a man that knows.
It's only Alton's halfway. Alton's halfway, for goodness sake. It's sobering to think, but there you go.
Oh, fantastic. So, anyway, brilliant. We'll let you get on, but thank you very much, Graham. Well done. Congratulations.
We've got Fergus Campbell over here as well. Let's grab Fergus. Fergus, you were having a great fight with Tyler there, weren't you?
It was.
You go in the middle. I'll go over here.
Tell me where you'd like me to go.
I'm not that important. So. Tell us about that with Tyler. He got you in the end, no, didn't he?
He did. I mean, Tyler's a very quick young lad, and his move it started around the, getting a good run out of paddock and then around the outside at Druids. And I thought, well, I'll leave a little bit of room because it would be unchristian not to. And before I knew it, he was sort of there, and it was a fair move and fair play to him. So yeah, really well done, Tyler. But it was a good scrap up to that point. It was a shame that James had some overheating issues, and an even bigger shame that Lee had another issue again, because I think with all four of us, it might have been even more fun. But leaving Brands with a straight car is as good as a win, so I'll take it.
I'm glad you told us. Sorry, I'm glad you told us about that overheating with James, because it was a great fight. The three of you were there, and then suddenly James just disappeared, and you kind of had a bit of a sort of semi-lonely run to the finish from there.
Yeah, it's not much fun being the meat and the sandwich, because you've got to be looking forwards and backwards. But I certainly couldn't live with Tyler's pace today, and James was keeping me very, very honest. So I had a bit of a breather. But hopefully everyone will get their cars sorted for the next meeting, and we'll be less depleted at the finish and more close racing throughout the whole race, hopefully next time.
Yeah, it's definitely something for us to look forward to. Obviously, I think a winning class yesterday and a second in class today, I believe, if I'm not wrong. So, pretty decent start to the season for yourself. Have you had any thought about that at all, or are you just happy it's in one piece and you've had a couple of good races?
I think you could say that the pace has not been stunning, but it's been solid. The race results have been quite solid, and it's a pretty good platform to build on for when we go to the next meeting at Alton in a few weeks. So yeah, all in all, quite happy.
Yeah, consistency is the thing that wins championships, isn't it, after all? So all the best of luck at Alton.
Cheers, Fergus. Good to see you again. Let's just head down the pit lane a little bit. I think Tyler's car was parked out a little bit, wasn't it? We got Sam. Come here a sec. Sam, we want to know about your first. You go in the middle. Okay, Simon's car. I still can't believe it.
I'll tell you what, there's nothing in between the two of us.
Yeah, no. You put the driver in the middle. Put the star of the show in the middle. First experience at Brands. Tell us about it.
Yeah, good fun. Very good fun. Yeah.
You were having a good battle with Woodcock for a bit, weren't you, out there, and Harvey?
Yeah, had a throttle position since it was playing up all race, so
okay.
It wasn't 100%, but yeah.
You're going to come back to Brands. Where does it rank now on all of the tracks that you've driven?
Well, it's the first weekend I've finished both races, so probably number one.
I'll
give it that.
So well done. I'll let you crack on. Thanks for talking to us. We appreciate it. Sam Meagher, the tallest man in the MG Trophy, probably tallest man here at Brands Hatch this weekend as well. A couple of other cars. That's it actually now though for the MG Trophy Championship here this weekend. Mitch, in you come.
Come on, Mitch.
In you come. Big. I just want to personally thank you guys. As well, it's been a real pleasure. It makes my life a hell of a lot easier having you two here as well. Charles Boniface, Mitch Murray. Just a quick reminder, everybody, as well, if you do want to find out more about the MG Trophy Championship, there's a link in the body of this broadcast. Click it, it'll take you straight through to the MG Trophy Championship website. But before you do that, visit Live Sport Now on YouTube. Make sure you hit subscribe. We are broadcasting to there right now. And where it says watch every race live for the MG Trophy Championship in 2023, we mean it, because we are going to be at Alton. We're going to be at Silverstone, Cadwell and Snetterton too. Every single race, every round, every qualifying and every behind-the-scenes look coming to you with Live Sport Now this season. It is going to be an absolute cracker. Charles, final words from you for today?
Just thank you again for having me.
Today,
Thank you again to yourself, obviously, for having me. It's always a pleasure. And we've had two very exciting races here this weekend, and I hope you guys at home have enjoyed them as much as we have. And just make sure you tune in for Alton Park in the rest of the season, because if we have more like we've had today, it's going to be a really good season.
Mitch, what have you made of your MG Trophy experience?
It's excellent, and I'd like to thank you for now bankrupting my parents, because we're out to buy an MG ZR170. So
here we go, a new driver coming on board for the MG Trophy Championship. You had it first, breaking news, no pressure, Mitch. Going to be great to have you. Again, thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in and watching. We will be back live, of course, at Alton Park. It's not quite it from us today. We've got a couple of races from the BCV8 Championship to bring you later across the MG Car Club channel. So if you do want to watch those, do tune in. But for now, and for the MG Trophy Championship, thank you, good watching, and drive safely until next time.